Hi, we're here with Mariah Brooks, and she is the Transitional Living Program Coordinator for Franklin Grand Isle Region. We're here to talk with her today about what she does and some of the youth, the population that she works with. So, Mariah, can you tell us a little bit about your position and when you came on board?
Yeah, so I started here at NCSS about a year ago now. I was hired to do the Transitional Living Program Coordinator position, and that basically entails working with youth that are age 15 to 22 and addressing any housing issues that they have and any issues that arise within the housing piece. So getting a job in order to pay for the house or the apartment, accessing any resources they need in the community, teaching them basic independent living skills like cooking, cleaning, budgeting, that kind of stuff.
Great. And what is the biggest need that you see amongst the youth that you serve?
Right now it tends to be a tie between jobs that pay them a wage that makes it so that they can live on their own, along with access to some sort of cheaper housing or less expensive housing, so that they can get themselves up on their feet before they're kicked out or before they're homeless or before they end up in a shelter.
Mm-hmm. And who are the youth? What are the ages of the youth that you serve?
Basically, I work mainly with, I would say, 17 to 21-year-olds, but the program works for anyone from 15 to 22. And it's a little bit more difficult when students or kids want to move out when they're 15, so it could be addressing family issues and housing issues within the family at that age, and then once they're 18, it's wanting to move out on their own and become more of an independent adult.
Great, great. And what is the success rate with the youth that come to you for services?
I don't know an exact number, but for me personally, it seems like the program has been very helpful and students or youth have been very successful as far as learning more about the resources that are available to them. It's a really confusing world when it comes to knowing anything about Champlain Housing Trust, which can help with apartments, just basically saving money, accessing Reach Up if they have children of their own already, and figuring out how all of those programs can play together. I would say that I've had a couple successful youth. I have a young pregnant woman right now that I'm working with who's actually been granted a Vermont rental subsidy, which drastically decreases her rent each month. She works full-time, she's due any day now, and she's saved a lot of money on her own, so it's been really great to see her be able to work through all of that by herself with our support.
Awesome, awesome. And do you find once youth are able to obtain apartments that they're able to keep apartments, or what do they usually need to be able to be successful with that?
I've found that being able to maintain their source of income tends to be the part that they need help with the most, and sort of figuring out if they have a roommate, some sort of roommate issues or some sort of relationship conflict, and maintaining that and being able to talk stuff out instead of getting angry and leaving, and breaking a lease or not paying their portion of the rent. But I think maintaining a job tends to be the biggest one.
Great, awesome, awesome. And how would one know to get in contact with you if they were a homeless youth or young adult living in the community?
They can definitely call the NCSS basic phone number. They can connect with you and Ebony at the Youth in Transition. They can ask places like anybody at Economic Services at the State Building would know who we are, or they could call me directly.
And what is your number?
My phone number is 393-6672, and then we would bring somebody in and kind of do a little get to know each other kind of thing and see where we can help you out.
Great, great. And if a young person has to go immediately into some sort of shelter or need to take refuge from the cold weather, where can they go?
If they are over 18, they can either access general assistance housing or they can access Tim's house, which is the shelter. if they aren't qualified to be in the shelter there's 3 basic reasons they wouldn't be able to stay in the shelter: if they have any violent charges or crimes, any sort of sexual crimes or violent crimes, or I think it's immediate or drug use or being under the influence at the time, then that's where general assistance housing would come in. And they can house you at motels in the winter time. I think they do 5-day periods now. It used to be a lot more, but it's only to help people during the cold months. Any other time, calling 211, they could help you and connect you to the resources that are available. But Tim's House, the shelter here, is a great place to call to see if there are any beds available.
Great, great. And if you had one wish to help you make the program even more successful, what would that wish be?
More jobs for the youth, and more resources for housing that's affordable. Apartments around here are not cheap, so that would be great. There are a lot of places in town that won't rent to young people because they're afraid that they're not going to pay for it, or if mom and dad are helping pay for it, mom and dad aren't going to do it anymore, and that kind of stuff. So it would be really great to have the community be a little more understanding of young people, and how, at 19 I wanted to be on my own too, and I did, and I had a job, and it wasn't always easy, but I paid for everything that was my own. So kids can do it, they just need the support and resources.
Yeah, and belief in them.
Exactly.
Great, great, awesome. Okay, well, thank you, Mariah. This has been a good interview, and we hope that youth and young adults are seeing this program, and we'll contact you shortly.
Definitely, thank you.
Thanks. So, hi. Today we're meeting with Patricia Brett, and she works for DCF. And we would like to ask Trish right now what's your position and how long have you been working in this region?
Thank you. My position is the Juvenile Services Supervisor here at Department for Children and Families. I supervise a unit of adolescent caseworkers and probation workers as well. I've been here almost 22 years in this position.
That's great.
A long time.
And what were the things that brought you to this work?
Well, I had already worked in this community for a grant out of UVM called Project Wraparound, and so I had the opportunity to meet folks here and see the work that they were doing and interagency collaborations, and that's how I actually ended up here.
Mm. And what are the ages of youth that you work with?
Well, we work with youth adjudicated and delinquent, so that can be 10, 11, 12, up to kids up to the age of 21, who are youthful offenders or who sign over 18 agreements with us.
What are some of the needs that you see for youth in Franklin and Grand Isle counties?
I'd say first and foremost, transportation is a huge barrier for kids accessing events, activities, services. There's some very rural communities that have a difficult time getting even to St. Albans. I think that we need more healthy activities, more options in the community for art, music, sports, anything that brings kids together in a really positive way that is strengths-based. We have amazing kids in our system and kids that we've worked with through drug court who are incredible athletes and artists, and there's so much that they have to offer, and we just want to give them a canvas to have that happen.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit more about drug court.
Alrighty. Well, drug court we started about 6 or 7 years ago, and it's a program designed for kids who have a history, a substantiated substance abuse problem, and who have come to DCF with an either adjudicated delinquent in DCF custody or on probation. And we recognize that sometimes the drug addiction is what drives the delinquency. And so we work on getting kids healthy and not using and replacing the drugs with other activities. And it's a lot of work. Anyone, the kids, the families, the court, the team will tell you it's one of the most difficult challenges we've ever had because, first of all, we do it with very little financial support. but it's also the most worthwhile. It's a celebration of success and baby steps and recognition of challenges that kids and families have. We try to meet them where they are at. We do a program of incentives like crazy. The graduations are by far one of the best events that we at DCF at least can ever participate in. So it's been an amazing experience. We have a great collaboration between NCSS, we have the state's attorney's office, we have public defender's office, we have treatment, and it's been an incredible experience. It really has.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And how can someone from the community help or assist or volunteer or donate?
Well,
what would they need to do?
First of all, we are always in need of mentors, people who have had experiences with substance abuse, who can walk kids through the nuances and the challenges and the fragile feelings that they might have and really be an incentive for them. They absolutely need that in younger folks, younger adults if possible. And we always are looking for community service opportunities for kids to have, and it's just our way of paying back the community, of engaging kids in activities that they actually really like and are good at. So we've, if in any farms or community activities like the Maple Fest, events like that, we look to participate in. And also on the islands, on the Big Shaboom, and we do have a population over there, and unfortunately, we don't have as much contact with them as we would like, but certainly engage them. And we are always looking for foster parents. It's one of our biggest needs, always. We have some incredible kids that are headed to college next year, so we have the full spectrum of need as well. Mm-hmm. We're always looking for incentives, too. So, gyms for memberships or gift certificates for activities so that kids can be rewarded in drug court, and they really enjoy like the movies. A lot of them want to go to the gym. Options like that.
Great. And so how can someone get in contact with you if they are interested in helping or volunteering for the program?
They can contact me at 524-7945 or at my email address, which is patricia.brett, patricia.brett, state.bt.us.
Great. And if you could say one thing that would represent youth in this region, what would it be?
Exceptional. That's what I would say.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Patricia Brett, for participating in this interview.
You are welcome, Ebony. My pleasure.
Good afternoon, Dr. Holmes. We would like to welcome you to this special edition of Youth Safety Community Awareness Day program. Dr. Holmes, what made you first decide to become a doctor?
Oh, I don't know. I think it started in a biology class when I was a sophomore in high school, and how things or how people or how animals work always fascinated me. So from sophomore in high school on, I wanted to be a pediatrician in rural Vermont.
Awesome. Was there anything else you thought that you would pursue after high school?
No. The only thing, the only hiccup along the way was that to get into college I had to apply as an electrical engineering major because the pre-med courses were so limited, but I transferred over as soon as I was accepted, and that was it.
Great. How long have you practiced medicine in Vermont?
Practiced in Vermont for 41 years until I retired in July of last year. And for 2 years before I came to Vermont, I was a pediatrician in the Air Force.
Wow. When did you know you wanted to become a pediatrician, and when did you decide to start treating children for substance abuse?
So taking care of children piece has always been part of my long-term plan, and treating kids with substance abuse started in 2006 when one of the youngsters who I had known since birth came in and asked me to help him with that. And I didn't know much about it. So I spent the next 7 or 8 years trying to understand it better and to take care of kids who were struggling with addiction.
What is the worst scenario that you've ever experienced as a result of drug abuse?
Death. And unfortunately, with the current wave of heroin abuse, it's more common than I would have ever thought it would be. I can think of, right off the top of my head, 4 kids that I knew who died of drug overdoses within the last few years. And that's probably more patients than I knew died for all the rest of my career in medicine.
And from your opinion, would there have been anything that we could have done differently to keep the kids alive or the youth alive?
I think the difficulty is that people consider this a discussion about addiction, but I think it's more a discussion about, should be a discussion about kids who are struggling, either with learning difficulties or difficulties within their home or their own behavioral challenges. And when the going gets rough, just like anybody else in the world, they look for things that make them feel better, and opiates do that very, very well. And so they may turn to opiates as their peers do in an attempt to feel better and to handle the struggles in their life. And it's not long before they're physically dependent upon them, their addictive behaviors increase, and then they're in difficulty.
When did you first know that this was a problem in our area?
Again, it really began in 2006, early 2006, and I was astounded. I don't think I'm the brightest sandwich in the picnic, but it was embarrassing when we figured out what these kids were going through and how many of them were stuck, because I'd been to school meetings and made house calls for my whole career, and I thought I would have picked up on it somewhere, but I didn't. And I don't think anybody else in our practice knew much about it either.
Can you please tell us about the movie you helped produce entitled The Hungry Heart?
Well, The Hungry Heart's interesting. The Hungry Heart is just trying to further a conversation. What we did is when we started to talk to the kids about their struggles with addiction, and then a patient of mine, a friend of mine, Katie Tanner, wrote a questionnaire which we gave to the kids looking at their family lives. And when we got the results of those questionnaires, we were even more startled, so we asked the kids to share their stories. And the stories that they wrote were really sad and powerful. So the first thing we did is we quick made a DVD that we presented in the State House before Patrick Leahy and some Senate hearings that were held several years ago. And the response to that little DVD was pretty powerful. So we thought that using that modality, we could share the stories that the kids had written for us. So we got in touch with Bess O'Brien, and she made a movie that has turned out to be absolutely spectacular. We've now shown to thousands and thousands around the state, and I think it's doing a good job in furthering the conversation.
Awesome. What are the main points you hope people take away from the film?
Well, if absolutely nothing else happens, I hope people will realize that kids don't choose to become addicts, and it's not bad behavior. It's a serious medical illness. It's relenting. It's relapsing. It's potentially fatal. And so I would hope that through the movie, people will begin to understand this and treat these youngsters with compassion, instead of just referring to them as those kids who need some sort of law enforcement.
What can young people do to fight the opiate addiction problem in our region?
Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. Because I sincerely believe that the young people that we talk to know much more about what's going on in the schools than we do. And only by promoting a conversation where they can talk about it amongst themselves and on some level have some compassion for each other in terms of the difficulties they have, that they themselves can do something about it.
Great. And what can the community at large do to stop opiate abuse from destroying lives?
Well, again, I think it's primarily a conversation. I am wicked proud of the state of Vermont right now, and even prouder of Franklin County, because the stuff that's been in the news lately about the change in approach to addiction as a medical epidemic and not a law enforcement problem, the structures that are in place, the emphasis that's being put on the problem, both on the local and state and now national level, and the fact that Vermont seems to be leading this conversation is just amazing.
Great. Great. And where can we hope to, if someone wanted to purchase a copy of the movie, where can they go to order?
The best thing is just to go online and go to Kingdom County Productions, or go to the hungryheartmovie.org. And on there's trailers for the movie, there's comments from other people, there's a list of the towns we've showed it in, there's some comments about the results of the conversations, and you can also order a copy of the movie.
Great. And finally, where can youth or young adults go to assist them with their opiate problem?
Here in Franklin County, the first best place to call if you're under 18 is NCSS, and if you're over 18, it's the Howard Center. But I think more than anything else is just to go to somebody within the school that they're comfortable with, that they trust as a friend, and to have that conversation with them in confidence and have them help them find the resources they need.
Great. Well, thank you, Dr. Holmes, for participating in this interview.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Malone, and welcome to a special show that we have today with Channel 15. And today in our studio we have youth ambassadors from the New Generation Youth Council. Welcome to all of you. Thanks for coming into the studio. If you'll start out just by introducing yourselves and tell us what makes you a leader.
My name is Jabril Williams, and I live in St. Albans. And what makes me a leader is that I help people when they need help, and yeah.
Right.
I'm Amber. I live in St. Albans. It makes me a leader. I am very organized, and I can just take control of a situation when it's needed.
I'm Cheyenne. I live in Swanton, and what makes me a leader is the fact that I'm readily available and accessible to go out and help people when they need it.
I'm Tatiana, and I live in St. Albans, and what makes me a leader is that I work well with others, and I give good advice. So.
I'm Nathan. I'm from here in St. Albans. I consider myself to be a leader because of my experience dealing with a lot of groups of people. I tend to take charge and help to organize a lot of the events and stuff that we do around in town with any group I'm part of. So.
That's great. And what I love is that all of you said something very different, and I think that's true of leaders. There's a lot of different styles of leading and different ways to lead. So when you look out into our community and maybe even beyond our community, who do you consider to be leaders?
Like teachers?
Yeah, teachers.
Or parents.
Teachers?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who helps you.
Like an
do stuff.
adult or a peer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And any specific leaders that you think of when you look around this community or even beyond this community?
I'd definitely say Tammy DeFranco. She does a lot and goes out there to do things to help people without expecting any publicity about it. She just kind of goes out and helps whoever she can.
Sure, and she just got elected to city council.
Yep. She puts together a lot of events like the family day in the park or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyone else that you think of when you hear the word leader? Nope. All right. So let's see. As a young person, what are some of the needs that you have that you need to get help with?
Support, probably, from other peers. Just going through stuff, like if you're having a bad day, someone needs to be there for you, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And when you need that support, who do you usually look to?
Friends.
Yep. Okay. What other needs do you have?
A better paying job.
Jobs, yep.
I consider education to be one of the highest priorities I have for needs, specifically an education that will help me in the world, getting in jobs and into communities.
Yeah. How about you, Jabril? So we have friends, jobs, education.
Well,
what else is out there?
I don't know, just random people in town, I guess. They help.
So there are adults out there that
can
help out. Yeah.
I definitely feel like St. Albans needs a place for teens to go to spend their time rather than doing drugs or graffiti or
Yeah, so that's a
putting their
need that,
energy into a different place.
yeah, that's a need that's not being met right now. Do you think that there's other things that are missing in the community that would help you be successful and happy?
Yeah.
I think that there is a lack of recreational activities around this community. There's very few places for people like us youth to actually go out and be with our friends and our family and have a good time without having to either pay a lot of money or be out in the open. And, it's very stymied.
Yeah. Are there other things that you think are missing in the community?
Support or more accessible support.
And
Or like activities to do, because like teenagers get bored and they do stuff that they wouldn't really do if their parents were watching or stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. Parents are a lot busier than they were like a generation ago.
Yeah.
So what's some of that support that you mentioned that the community could provide? Like you said, activities. Are there other things that you think the community could be providing that they aren't?
Well, like me and my parents are having a hard time getting along, and there was nowhere really I could go to figure out the solution to my problem, other than the fact that I avoided going home. But then something drastic happened in my life, and I had to go to, well, basically court. So my attorney was the one who got me into NCSS and got us the help we needed as a family. Without her, we wouldn't have known what to do. We would have thought we were perfectly functional yelling at each other in their own fits.
Yeah, definitely. Families need help to get through. Sure. So, on a daily basis, name one thing you wish you had more of.
Sleep.
Like,
Sleep?
oh
All right.
yeah.
Money.
Money?
Yeah, I second the money one, especially now that I'm going to college.
And how is it getting jobs out there? How many of you
Oh.
have jobs?
I have
Well,
a job.
I will,
I kind of have a job.
but only because my aunt asked me.
Uh-huh. So right now, just one of you has a job.
And it took me like a year to find that job.
Do you find that's true of like a lot of your friends as well, are having trouble
well-
finding jobs?
I don't know, a lot of my friends have jobs.
Yeah, if they work on a farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Burger King like me.
Yeah.
But I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
I play a lot of sports, so there's not a lot of time to even have a job.
Yep.
So,
So why does it matter to have a job as a young person?
You can get
so you
money.
can get money.
And also like to
your family.
get you ready for your adult future life.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's
That's a
also
big
another
thing.
way to exert your energy.
Yep.
Instead of being bored, you're working for what you want in life.
I can't save money, so you know, just spend it all on clothes.
You could sell your old clothes for more money.
No, I keep those.
Yeah.
Play-Dohs.
So there could be, do you think that people are open to hiring high school
I
students?
I know a lot of people know.
I don't think
No,
there's
I think
many
it's like age
good
discrimination.
jobs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like McDonald's and stuff.
Yeah, because I applied there and like,
But I don't want to work at a fast food restaurant.
Yeah, I want a better job, like higher pay and where I can get farther in life than minimum wage, where I can barely afford to pay my phone bill.
Yeah. It must be hard to balance a job with school. Is that some of why?
I don't know.
Yeah,
People
I
don't
think
get
so.
jobs.
Yeah,
probably.
because of the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Time management is
A big, yeah.
It makes it hard to be alert at school the next
Yeah,
morning
some
if you
people,
work
like-
till like 9, 10 o'clock, then go home and do homework.
Some people just like leave school to go to their jobs instead of staying the whole day at school.
Yeah. Yeah. And for the people that do have jobs and they have started hopefully saving money, what are people putting most of the money toward?
College,
College?
Yeah.
Clothes.
cars.
I budget my money, so my money goes to everything that I personally need. And I'm technically living alone right now, so I have a lot more to pay for than just college and
Yeah, a lot of
my phone
expenses.
bill.
So you brought up cars. That's, first of all, that's a huge expense
Yeah.
to be able to buy the car and keep insurance on the car.
It's used.
How does transportation affect you? This is a pretty rural county.
Well, as soon as I can, I'm getting my license.
And And what's that going to, once you have your license, what will you be able to
Drive myself to school, sports, everywhere. Drive away when I just get annoyed by people.
do? And not having a car, like a lot of young people in this county, what does it mean you can't do?
A lot of things, like if
Yeah.
your parents don't want to bring you somewhere, then
Yeah.
you can't go.
Yeah, I find it very hard to get to what recreational activities there are in town because I live on the edge of town, so moving or biking 3 miles uphill to town is kind of a pain.
Yeah. And when you don't have transportation, what do you end up doing?
Walking or just
Or
don't
just-
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find myself stuck
I
at
was
home a
yeah.
lot.
I
Yeah,
always have
same.
transportation.
Yeah.
Like,
I usually just walk.
I live
Or-
in Swanton, but everything I have set up is in St. Albans, so sometimes I can't make it to work or I can't get to the doctor's appointment because we only have one car in my family and we babysit and my other parent drives the bus, so it makes it kind of difficult to get everywhere I need to go without friends' support that I have.
Yeah. If the community had more public transit, do you think young people would use it?
If they had the money to pay for it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Not all.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would.
I probably wouldn't take
I
the bus.
wouldn't.
'cause
Yeah. I don't know. I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Some strangers, and I'm not even going to start.
So a mixed response to that. Some people would be interested in it, not others. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about some of the things you'd like to see in the community. What are some of the other changes that you think would make this a place that, you know, a lot of people do grow up in Vermont and this part of Vermont and they leave for college and don't come back. So what's something that would make this community more supportive for young people and more fun for young people?
I would definitely say less substance abuse because I know for me it's hard to see my friends who waste their life smoking weed or like it's a struggle in their life and they might think, oh, it's just something fun to do, a way to get out of it, but I know it can lead them to a road of hardships, not to mention the fact that it costs money to buy weed and any other substance that you really might want to get, so then it causes more struggle in their life in the long run.
Yeah. Other changes? Yeah.
I feel that the community here is very shut in, so it's really hard to look out and get beyond, you know, just the walls of your house or past the walls of the community. It's very hard to reach out to other people. I find that many people in the community are very singular. They keep to themselves a lot.
Yeah.
So it makes it hard when you need support, and it's very hard to get that support to simply reach out to people. And
Yeah.
I wish that their community was more open
Yeah, and I think that
publicly.
Definitely agree.
people
socially.
should be more aware of what we do offer. There's a lot of programs that not a lot of people know about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. How about you, Tatiana? Any other changes you'd like to see?
No, they pretty much said it, I guess. Yeah. The substance abuse and all that.
Yeah, along the lines of substance abuse, I mean, that's a huge thing in the state right now. People are setting aside millions of dollars to address the problem, and it's a problem that for the largest percentages of young people that are having problems with substance abuse. So what do you see, you know, what are some of the things that maybe start off the abuse problems, and you know, is it isolation? What do you think it is?
Probably peer pressure, I guess.
I think it's more of a, like, not so much peer pressure, just something.
Like everyone else is doing it, so
Yeah,
why?
someone, like, you're expected to do it.
Yeah.
Or like you're just doing it to just have fun and think that you can control it or something. And
I see it as also, and I think that the lack of the isolation of the people, the individuals in the community, and the lack of other things to do is a big cause.
A lot of
That too,
boredom.
yeah.
There's nothing. You have nothing to do. How do you
Yeah.
maintain them?
To have
Got rid
fun.
of that bowling alley, too.
I mean,
and
basically,
Yeah.
there's not a lot to do.
I feel like it's a lot of boredom and not knowing what else to do. So, oh, let's have some fun, get high.
Yeah.
It's like you're out of this world. Not to mention a lot of people are struggling with their lives or issues that are going on that people don't know about. So then they just go get high to get out of it. And then nobody really recognizes that. They're like, oh, they're just careless teenagers or whatever.
Yeah. So you're all successful young people. So what do you do to keep from making those poor choices?
Pretty much.
Hang out with friends. I stay inside most of the time.
Like, just be around a good influence, I guess.
So it's making good choices about...
Yeah, be a leader, just stand up for yourself, I guess.
Mhm.
Even if I wanted to, my mom wouldn't, like...
Yeah,
no.
my mom would, like, slit my throat.
Yeah, so parental support is a
Yeah.
big part of
Some
it.
people don't care
I
at
just,
all.
Yeah.
Getting involved in the
Yeah.
programs like what we're part of.
Yeah, like sports.
In transition.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know my grades are steady because sports, you have to keep a certain grade.
If you have too much free time, there's like,
There's more of a...
yeah, the chance that you would do it.
yeah, I definitely just keep myself busy, and it's not who I am anyway to resort to drugs, but if I'm busy, it's not going to even be a thought that goes into my mind. So I keep myself busy with everything else, so that if, like, there's been points where people have offered it to me and I was like, nah, I got better things to go on to in my life than getting high in my bedroom.
Yeah. Well, it's great to hear that you all have these awesome techniques for staying safe and healthy. And thank you for all coming in. Anybody have any last thoughts they want to throw out there?
Like the youth center.
The youth
Yeah.
center, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about where the plans are for the youth center.
We don't really know what the plans are for where it's going to be, but
Why does it matter? Why
We-
does St. Albans need a youth center?
because
To
To
there's-
keep teens
Yeah,
off
to-
drugs.
yeah, like
To
control.
get our voices out to people, like let the youth be heard.
We want to offer a place for youth to go,
And support.
to
There's
offer
a,
the support and
and,
the
like,
to reach out that
we
they
meet
need.
every Wednesdays at Mimo's at 3 o'clock.
But it'd be nice to have our own place to meet rather than crowded Mimos and trying to scream over each other while people are eating quietly. We're
so-
like, hey, you over there!
Yeah, but whoever wants to come can.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
just
it's a great program.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Fun.
You really learn a lot.
Can you say when the meeting time is once more for everybody?
We meet at Nemo's every Wednesday at 3 o'clock.
Great. All right. Well,
Like
thank
us on
you.
Facebook.
Yeah, and on
Oh yeah, we
Facebook
have
too?
a Facebook page.
Yep.
The new generation.
Yeah,
And it's like,
New Youth Generation
Yep, we'll
Resource
put
Center.
that,
Yeah.
put that information up on the screen for everybody to see. So. All right. Well, thank you all for coming into the studio.
You're welcome.
thank you.
No problem. Pleasure to be here.
Great. And thank you to our viewers. You'll see the information on your screen if you want more information about New Generation. And until next time, thanks for watching.